All right, everyone. For some unknown reason, a lot of people want to hear what Hillary Clinton has to say about the 2020 election. It's like, I know that she ran, the last time around, but she's basically the also ran. She ran such a shitty campaign, you should not be listening to her advice. But now she's opining on some of the Democratic candidates, and she is completely right, but for all of the wrong reasons. Hillary Clinton dog whistling in her sexist manner, because she is a sexist, saying, well, some of the 2020 Dem candidate males are unlikable. She's not wrong. She's 100% Is Biden really a likable individual? Maybe before, when he was just the goofy gaffe master. If you're looking at just the goofy side of Biden, yeah, he seems like a chucklehead. Like someone, you'd go out and you'd laugh about things. Like they had all the stupid memes during the Obama era of him and Obama like looking around a corner. It's like, oh, they're about to play a prank on Trump or some stupid shit like that. They're about to, tie some congressman's shoelaces together, put dog shit on the congressional steps or something. Funny. But then when you get into the like Me Too stuff, it's creepy. Okay, I'm gonna say the way Biden acts around females is creepy, and he doesn't appear to have learned his lesson. If that conference that he had right before he jumped into the race, where he had the kid up on stage and had his hands under, if that's any indicator, he's probably going to keep doing stupid shit. It's like, okay, let's have another philanderer in the White House. His wife comes out and says, oh, well, he's learned his lesson and he needs to be a little bit more less touchy-feely with people. It's like, come on. Seriously, don't give us that shtick again. We went through this with Bill Clinton, okay? He's a creepy individual. He's a dirty old man. And he does this with... If it were just adults, it'd be one thing. And it would just say, well, kind of pervy. Some of these are little kids. It's too touchy-feely. It's weird. He's not a likable individual on that token. We look at Bernie Sanders. I saw Bernie Sanders debate once, live. Did a write-up about it, won second prize, actually. Senior law. Yeah, it was really great. Gave me a $150 Staples card. Cha-ching. For a poor kid, shit, that was a lot. I can't remember what I bought with it. I think I got computer accessories because I had my first laptop. It's like, wow, I finally got internet access. I can look at porn. That's basically what it was about at the time. Yeah, I mean, he's not likable. Have you ever seen him in person? Like, I've seen him several times, just sort of rushing around. One time I was at the airport. I was waiting for a friend, actually, because the bus station's there as well. And he came out of the airport. I'm like, oh, it's Bernie Sanders. I'm like, and at the time, of course, I was more left-leaning, didn't really know much about policy. So I'm like, oh, have a good one, Bernie. He's like, thank you very much. And he rushes off to his car. He's very short in the way that he speaks. He's a very fiery individual. He's not a particularly likable individual. He's extremely professionalistic. He doesn't smile a lot. He doesn't really do the crack jokes thing. She's right. I mean, he's not a particularly likable person. He's liked by his core fans that like his message, but interpersonally, not really. We would look at some of the other candidates. Most of them you don't know much like Inslee. Who knows about Inslee? Hickenlooper. What do you know about him? Basically nothing. Julian Castro seems likable enough, but again, being able to make soaring Obama-esque speeches does not an Obama make. The interpersonal sort of celeb politician schmoozing that Obama was capable of, can Julian Castro do that? And does it matter? He's at 1% of the polling. No and no, I would assume, would be the answer. But then again, Hillary Clinton's leaving out a whole nother group of candidates, and here's the thing, she doesn't want to attack them because Hillary Clinton desperately wants the nominee to be female. She wants it to be Harris or Warren. I'm telling you this, here's why. And I think she's Team Harris more than Team Warren. She wants them to be female because she knows she'll get dragged out on stage to talk about the glass ceiling, she'll sell more books, she can harangue, and she's going to get asked to harangue to female voters on the She is Female platform. While the main candidate, if they are smart, will not make that a platform. If Warren, here's some free advice I shouldn't even bother to give to Warren and Harris. If you become the nominee, don't even mention the fact that you have a vagina. Don't even mention it. Have Hillary Clinton come out and stump for you and let her do it. That way, anyone who has a problem with that message, they're projecting it on Hillary Clinton, not on the candidate. It's as pure as that. It's simple political strategy. But she should look at them. They're not. Is Elizabeth Warren really a likable person? Kamala Harris? Okay, wow, I smoked weed listening to Tupac, years before Tupac released an album somehow. But at the same time, tough on crime. Threw people in prison for extended periods for drug possession, truancy, and shit. Like, that's not. She's sort of the urban police state prosecutorial figure more than anything. And Elizabeth Warren, she's very, very dry. And when challenged, if she's just giving a speech, she comes off as okay. But if she gets challenged at all, she loses it. Her temper's worse than Hillary Clinton. I'm looking at the field. Buttigieg seems likable. To an extent. He seems like an okay person. Again, policy and likability, two fucking totally different things. Bernie Sanders, policy-wise, he's very well liked by young voters, but if he had a regular liberal policy in mind, he'd be at 1% right now. Let's put it that way. He has the personality of a wet dish rag when he's not in a fiery rant about some revolutionary activity he did back in the 70s. Otherwise, he's not likable. Biden comes off as likable insofar as someone is unaware of the fact that he does creepy shit. If they're a Dem partisan, they don't care. And if they're a Biden, like an Obama fanboy, they don't care. But I think for others, it could affect them. So Hillary Clinton's not wrong, but she's wrong. She's not wrong, but she's correct for the wrong reasons. And she's doing it for sexist and opportunistic motivations, mainly. It's also very, very funny to see her rating other people's likability, when even now, she's not a candidate, she's not in any office, even now approval of her as a person is like lower than Trump's approval and has been consistently. Isn't that fucking funny? She's still not well, like usually once the person loses, or whatever, they bow out and they take a few weeks off, they emerge, they give a speech or two. People are like, oh, well, they weren't so bad after all. And anyone who grows to dislike the current administration, they start liking that other person. Oh, if only Hillary had won. Oh, if only Gore had won. Oh, if only Kerry had won. Or, something like that. If only Mitt Romney had been president, maybe this wouldn't have happened. So they begin building this fantasy alternate universe where the other person has magically solved their problems. Even if they regret, they're like a Trump voter that now regrets voting for Trump or something like that. That's usually the trajectory of what happens within politics. But Hillary Clinton, nobody likes her. And that's because she spent too long initially, she spent over a year nonstop blaming other people for her problems, not owning up to it. It would have been much more wise if she hadn't done that. She wanted to stay in the limelight because that's what the Clintons do. That's how they make their money. That's fine. But she did it the wrong way. Because she's not Bill Clinton. People had Bill Clinton nostalgia when they were voting for her in some cases. Oh, wow, Bill will be back in the White House. It'll be just like the 90s. And the economy will surge, and .com, and MTV. That was never going to happen. It's 90s nostalgia. By the way, I do not have nostalgia for the 90s. The 90s are okay, there's some good stuff there, but I didn't get to experience most of it. If you were in buttfuck nowhere, Vermont, you didn't get cool rock stations. You got basically the best music that was on the radio was the stuff from the 70s and the 80s that they were still playing on the regular rock station. Classic rock and shit, like CCR is way better. You didn't get to hear the Wallflowers. You didn't get Kurt Cobain. You got Sheryl Crow. If you were lucky, you got some Ace of Base, later in the 90s. It was a good band. By the way, they got disappeared by their record company because one of the dudes had nationalistic ideas in mind. I think is a member of the Odin people there in Scandinavia, right? I think something like that. They're basically the techno version of ABBA anyway. No offense, and they did some good songs, but they don't exist anymore. I wonder where they went. Could it be politically related? Hillary Clinton's totally right, but she should aim that same criticism at the female candidates, and her talking about likability is hilarious. Oh my god, but Joe Biden's not really that likable. Yeah, well, most people, if I had to be on a desert island with Hillary Clinton or any of the Dem candidates, and they'd be randomly chosen, I would take my chance with it being Bernie Sanders or something like that, rather than be with Hillary Clinton. Because, she'll be trying to command me, to build her wigwam or whatever. Number one, and number two, she'll be constantly trying to make booze out of seashells or something, wasting time doing that. How do I ferment this fruit? I need some Chardonnay, basically. Well, there aren't any grapes on the island, Miss Clinton. Oh my god, just fucking, have pina coladas, I guess, or something at that point. It's really funny to think about, but it's probably more true than you would suspect. That's about all. Peace out.